think I've seen you talk somewhere about giving the cows an injection to encourage them to miscarry or to give birth early. Is that something that's common as well?
I don't know if it is anymore in New Zealand. I believe it's being phased out in Australia. And I know certainly up until a few years ago, by the time I left, there were a lot of vets that were thankfully refusing to do this because it's just so barbaric. And that's certainly one of the worst memories that I had. So inducing at the time, it's all to do with, cows are always done en masse, for want of a better expression. So, they're all supposed to come on heat at the same time, then they all get impregnated at the same time, and then they all give birth at the same time. And so it's very inconvenient, if cows don't get in calf when they're supposed to, and they don't give birth when they're supposed to, because then you obviously don't get enough milk out of them that you would like to. And so because of this, any cow that was due to give birth in, say, September, October, rather than July or August would get what they call induced. So just like humans, they would be brought to give birth early. And this was normally, I think, a course of 3 injections that was administered by a vet, and the vets would come along. Beg your pardon, I can't remember how far apart they were. It could have been a week apart, it could have been a fortnight, but eventually after this course of injections, some would only take 2 injections, but certainly by 3 the cows would all start aborting their calves. And it was just hideous, absolutely hideous. If you were, I guess if it was a blessing that if a calf was too small, that it was born dead. And obviously the closer it was to term, the more formed the calf would be. But, it may look okay on the outside, be a bit small, hair would be a bit shorter, but, their little lungs wouldn't be developed, or they weren't very strong on their feet. And you would see, nobody wanted those. The bobby trucks didn't want them. They were too small. Their hair, their skins, awful word, but weren't any use for anything. And so it was usually up to the farm workers to dispatch of these calves. And I think the worst memory that I had, there was one paddock one day that we went into, and there was 22 cows that had given birth to these half-formed calves, and you could see them just so confused, and just willing their babies to just get up, to respond, to stand, to be able to nurse. Just the confusion, and they knew something was wrong, and there was nothing they could do about it. And it was just, that was the closest I've ever seen to seeing farm workers broken, because it was their job to go and dispatch of these 22 calves. And every year it was the same. And every year they said, I'm never doing that again. It would just break them having to do this. And it was normally by a blow to the head or something of some sharp implement, that kind of thing. And sometimes this took time. It wasn't easy to do. It sounds so awful talking about it. But I think, by the time I left, I get a bit lost for words remembering that, because I just remember seeing that hill and seeing those cows and calves, and just, and for these animals, these mothers, to have someone come along and kill their babies in front of them. They know something's wrong, but they've got no control over anything in their lives, really, no control over anything at all.